What's up, my family? Listen, first-time listener, or you've been here the whole damn time. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, giddy up, let's go, enjoy the clip, no notes.
Like in terms of how the poll question is, you would rather have Devonta Smith over Jaylen Waddle. Agree or disagree?
I'm going to have to agree with this week's poll. And in my eyes, it's a little bit close. We know what type of player that Jaylen Waddle was before he got injured, and we know what type of player Devonta Smith is. And just going with what we have seen so far from both of them, I'm going to have to go with Devonta. In my eyes, I consider him more consistent route running. He has the ability to earn separation to give him the highest projected floor and ceiling in this class, in my opinion. And he's a guy that has shown that he can be a playmaker and that difference maker that this Philadelphia Eagles offense desperately needs after we keep on missing on wide receiver after wide receiver. And I understand everyone's worried about his size, this and that, and I was one of those guys as well, but hearing from some of these experts and reading up on this year's draft class, hearing one of my favorite guys in the media, Ray Didinger, speak on Devonta Smith, and he feels that Devonta Smith is the better prospect when it comes to a lot of the, besides Chase, of course, being considered as one of the better wide receivers in this draft class, and he feels it's more that it values the Eagles a lot more to get a playmaking wide receiver right now than possibly would be at cornerback, just because there's so much depth at the cornerback position in this draft. So if both Waddle and Devonta Smith are both there at 12, right now I would have to say I have to go with Devonta.
You need to draft prospects that are going to be here long term and will be the best fits for you long term to establish themselves as cornerstone players on this team for years to come. So that's the context we're looking at it.
So if that's the case, I would go with Surtain because I think Horn's more of a liability on the defensive side with his grabbiness. And I'll tell you, because I think that early on, teams are going to use his aggressiveness against him. We know these offensive coordinators are scheming. They're smart, and especially the wide receivers are going to be smart. So they're going to try to beat him down, and then when he gets beaten, that's when he's going to get grabby. We all know Surtain is probably not going to get any faster, but he knows how to use the field to his advantage better than what we'll see out of Jaycee Horn. I think Surtain is plug and play next 6-8 years. Once Slays is over with, he's your number one. You go with, and then you find a number two. Where I think Horn just has too many questions about his play and his technique for me to where Surtain is just too clean. If you were talking about like Horn versus Farley, that's a different conversation. I think at that point,
conversation.
I think that's a whole different conversation, because then I think it's more apples to apples, because you got Horn with this technique, but then you got Farley with this medical history. I would not be shocked if we get 2 weeks from today. Wow, it seems like it's going by. It's like it's right around the corner.
Right.
2 weeks from today, that if Horn and Surtain are gone, and there's somebody else that they may trade back and may still try to grab a Farley or somebody like that, who ultimately, if you're talking about the highest ceiling, if everything is higher than Horn and is higher than Surtain. I mean, if you look at it, if you're just looking at talent level, it's just. But for me in this question, Horn is just. I have to go with Surtain because he's more polished than what a Jeff Okudah was last year. You see how, and it's just different. Like, it's hard to find that type of position of need in a player that's clean, that you can rely on, because, and Howie hasn't done that. If he took Horn over, imagine if Surtain and Horn are at the board at the same time, and he took Horn over Surtain.
Mm-hmm. Which combo would you rather have? Surtain and Bateman, or Smith and Farley? Now, remember, Pete, me and Pete, I feel like me and him both agree on Farley. I think we feel the same about Farley, which is not what a lot of people do or like are on board with, because I've been preaching the past several weeks. I've been talking to Pete about it. If you're not talking about health, you take health out of it, Farley is CB1 in my book. To me, like he is so insanely good, and he's not even scratching the surface of what he can be, and he's already really, really good. So that's the thing with Farley. He's going to drop a little bit because of his health concerns. So which scenario would you pick? Would you go Devonta Smith at 12 with Farley, or would you go Surtain at 12 and Rashad Bateman? Anyone who wants to go ahead.
Smith and Farley. I would say just for the fact that I would say we know what type of player Devonta Smith is, and he would automatically be an immediate upgrade over what you have at the wide receiving position. Where Bateman, I would say we know what he can be, but he doesn't have that same skill set. He doesn't have that same difference maker that I feel Devonta Smith brings to an offense. Where at least Farley, he can, like you said, if it wasn't for the injury problems, he can he would be one of the top cornerbacks taken in the draft, probably later mid first round. So he's a guy that if you can get in the second round, I have confidence in that he can come in day one if healthy and at least be a serviceable number 2 corner on our defense. So I feel the better scenario for the Eagles, if that would happen, would definitely have to be Smith and Farley, just because you knock out 2 of your big needs and you get 2 quality players at big key positions that you definitely need upgrades over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with me, it's simple for me. It's going to be Surtain and Bateman. I completely agree with Pop. You get a guy, you already know what you're getting. You get a day one starter out of Patrick Surtain, like I touched on earlier, and you get a dog and Rashad Bateman in the second round. So to me, adding that to the wide receiver room, I think is critical, just to kind of boost the morale in the locker room for the young guys. But to me, it's simple with Surtain and Bateman.
Gotcha. I know AJ Heat here says Farley might be first quarterback taken. I don't think so. Based on what I've been hearing, maybe they end up being wrong. We see surprises, but man, I don't, because of now his medical rechecks were good. Yeah. So the doctor that examined him said he's good to go. But the fact that he did re-injure his back, we've been hearing that it cost him that opportunity to be the first cornerback taken. So I don't believe he will be. If you're going to ask me what I would do, I would have no issue taking Farley as the first corner, but I'm an idiot. And I don't. I'm blind. I'm blind to history. I'm not to injury history. I'm blind to it when that ceiling is that high. When you have elite potential like he does, I don't care about injury history like he has. I don't think it's that big of a risk. But again, I'm stupid, so I'm a high risk, high reward guy. So it could bite me in the butt, and I will admit I could be wrong about it, but. I agree he should be first corner taken, but he won't be because of the medical history. You guys know where I fall. I would go Smith and Farley. But Pete, Farley. I know. Me and you agree on Farley.
This may not go over well, but listen.
Uh-oh.
You draft Smith and you do whatever the fuck you need to do to get back in the first round and you draft Farley. Listen, man. Jalen Ramsey asks, and I firmly, if his medical history was clean, we're not talking about somebody getting drafted at 10. We're talking about Farley being drafted in the top 5, top 6.
Mm-hmm.
He's that good.
Yes. Yeah.
So if he gets to that 20, if he's anywhere to that 25 to 32 range, you give up 37, you give up a second next year, and you do what you need to do, and then I'm a happy camper. You feel what I'm saying? If we don't pick again until the third round, I am a happy camper.